like a little cold weather to change your strings a bit. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And welcome. It's wonderful to have you in our space, and those of you who are watching us in the live stream. I am Chazan, Cantor Sharon Brown-Levy, proudly representing Congregation Kol Ami. And welcome, Shabbat Shalom to you as well. It's good to have everyone here and everyone out there. And so our service is going to begin with words of welcome. You can find these words in your prayer book, your Siddur, page 128. They say, how good and how sweet it is that we can be together. The words are Hine Matov. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achiv Gam Yachad. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Try singing with me. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achiv Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achiv Gam Yachad. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. How good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Try the echo. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Sing with me. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achiv Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achiv Gam Yachad. Shevet Achiv Gam Yachad. Shevet Achiv Gam Yachad. How wonderful it is to be together. And once again, Shabbat Shalom. And so this part of our service is what we like to call Kabbalat Shabbat. And the word Kabbalah, many of you have heard of the word Kabbalah, the book of Jewish mysticism, but it actually, while many mystics have contributed to the liturgy that makes up this section, it actually means welcome in this sense. Kabbalah also actually means welcome. And so we sing these very specific pieces written by our sages to officially welcome Shabbat with beautiful metaphors. So I'm going to have you turn to page 142. 142. And here we see the metaphor that there are these angels, this heavenly pantheon of angels watching over us, helping us greet Shabbat and connect us with the Almighty. And so we are greeting them. We're actually greeting them with the word shalom. Welcome to all of you, right? The ministering angels. And then we say, come on in, boachem l'shalom. Barchuni, you are blessed to peace. And then after they have done the greeting, and then they leave us in peace. tzedchem l'shalom. And we hopefully can live up to the very friendly and warm and holy greetings that the angels offer to one another. On 142, we have a beautiful and very upbeat Shalom Aleichem. The words are going to fly, but you can follow along in Hebrew or phonetics. 142. From South America. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Amlakim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Verse 3. Baruch Hu L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Amlakim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Amlakim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Amlakim Kadosh Baruch. And it feels like we need a little more rhythm with these songs, and so if you'll indulge me. These are Jewish eggs. Rhythm eggs. Anybody who would like to shake a shaker and make some rhythm in our service, we welcome all kinds of music and all kinds of musicians here. So this next piece for Kabbalat Shabbat is yet another beautiful metaphor. This poem, called Lecha Dodi, as you can see at the bottom of page 138, was composed by a great scholar by the name of Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz. And he was not only a greeter of Shabbat, but he was also a study of mysticism. And so he did so in the city of Tzfat. In English, it's called Safed. And you can see that the first 8 verses are arranged acrostically according to the letters of the author's Hebrew name. So it's really beautiful. And what this imagery tells us is that we are to greet Shabbat with such joy as if we are getting married every single week, but not to a person, but to an amazing and sacred time. The Shabbat is considered so sacred because it is the completion of creation. It is a joyful and exuberant chance to rest. And so we greet the bride as the bride metaphorically enters when we hit the last verse. We are not doing 9 verses today. We'll do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And this wonderful rendition, which I've been teaching the community since I got here, comes to us all the way from Morocco, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to invite you, when I am strumming hard, you can shake your shakers, because that's what they do in Morocco when they play this song. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekavela. Shake with me. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekavela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekavela. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, la 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 la. Verse 1. Shahamar b'zachor b'dibur echad, Yishmi anu el מיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת בליתי shake with me לך דודי sing לי קראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לי קראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה verse 2 לקראת שבת לכובד לך כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף המעשה במחשבה תחית שייקרס לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת לקב page 5 139 verse 5 התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך ניגע sing לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה. Please rise and face the door as we metaphorically greet the Shabbat Queen. Ba'wi l'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'b'tzala toch emunei am segula Bawi chala, bawi, stand and dance, lecha dodi, likarat kala, pnei Shabbat, lekavela, lecha dodi, likarat kala, pnei Shabbat, lekavela, lai la 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 la, kala lai. Galalai, lai, 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 galalai, 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 lai, 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 lai. Shake those up, so beautiful. You may be seated. Toda rabah, thank you so much. It's nice to see your spirit tonight. Well, we couldn't complete the greeting of Shabbat without lighting our Shabbat nerot, our candles, that bring in Shabbat just a little bit brighter than singing alone would do. And so I'm going to come over here, bring this here, and hope that this match set works okay. Get these lit, and then I'll invite you to bring in the light with me. We're going to do a reading in English and then say the blessing. Take a look on page 121. Yes. Oh, candle went out. Wick. A different candle. Let's see. Okay, on page 121, let's read at the top of the page together. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. And so we greet with 3 circles towards our chest. We sing the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. Say Amen. And take a few moments. I know we have so many visitors today. Please take 1 or 2 minutes to stand and greet people you do not know near you and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Take a few minutes to do so. All right, we're going to have many more chances later this evening to continue to greet one another. Thank you for taking that time. I invite you to be seated as we proceed with the prayer that celebrates God's greatness in many ways and leads us to the official welcome of our service. So we're going to have you turn to page 144 with a prayer that extols God in many, many ways. Also lets us know that the first part of the service has come to a conclusion, and we're headed now into the main section very shortly. On page 144, it's called the Chatzi Kaddish. If you know the responses, please do so. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו Amen. I invite you please to rise and face our beautiful ark for the call to worship. Page 146. Ya-la-la-la-la, 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 ya-la-la-la-la. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. we not only celebrate the beginning of our service, we also begin to appreciate how lucky we are that the evening comes each day. Let us read together at the top of 149 in English, and we can conclude with the ending section called the Chatima in the middle of that page. Top of 149 in English. Together. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. And if you know this melody, join me. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. Page 150, we learn of God's everlasting love for us. 150, join in if you know it. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot U'kim u'mishpatim Otan limadita Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shokleinu u'b'kumeinu Nasiha b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגן יומם ולילה ויחבדך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. Page 152, the watchword of our people. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. On 154, the continuation of the Shema from the book of Deuteronomy in our Torah. Please chant along in the ancient trope, V'yahavta. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol miodecha v'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבדיך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבת על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. And at the bottom we say together, Adonai Elohechem Emet. So after we affirm God's love for us, not only for creating the Shabbat and this beautiful metaphor of the Shabbat wedding, and then we see that God has great love for us in return, and not just the sacred time, we now confirm God's truth. On page 157, we affirm God's truth because every single Shabbat and every day that a Jew prays and opens up a piece of liturgy like this, we are remembering our redemption from Egypt. It is not just at the time of Passover, which approaches so quickly, right? Not even 2 weeks away, just under 2 weeks. April 5th is our first Passover Seder meal. But if you were to come every single morning, afternoon, and evening, the Micha Mocha, the story of our redemption, is mentioned 365 days per year. In addition to the big section from the book of Exodus, which is called the Song of the Sea, is in every part of our daily liturgy, including in many books also our Shabbat liturgy. So at the top of 157, let's do this interpretive selection. What you'll notice, if you've never seen this book, and we've got many visitors, is that on the right side of each two-page spread, you have the original Hebrew setting, and then a pretty close, but not exactly verbatim, translation in English. On the left side, the English pieces are interpretive translations of the right side. So this is one of my favorites, the top of 157. Let's read this together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. And how grateful we are as a Jewish people that if you have not experienced this kind of service before, that you are marching together with us. For even as we left Egypt, our non-Jewish Egyptian counterparts, many of them also left Pharaoh's terror reign and joined us on that journey. May you continue to visit us and join us on this journey. Page 158, a very spirited, upbeat celebration of freedom. Please don't forget to shake a shaker. Written by our amazing and wonderful modern composer, Debbie Friedman. Yai lai lai, yai lai 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 la 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 la, ya lai la lai la, ya la ya la lai, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi hamocha ba'eli Madonna, mi kamocha nedar v'kodesh, nora tehilot osei vele, nora tehilot osei vele. Malechutecha ra'u v'anecha, v'ki hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeini anu v'yameru, zeini anu v'yameru, O Adonai Melech le'olam le'olam va'ed, Adonai Melech le'olam le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai, join in. Yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai And the end of the prayer goes like this: V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov v'gi'alo miyad chazak mimenu baruch ata Adonai Gal Israel. So as we think about the joy and the celebration of our freedom and the fortune we have to be able to rest on the seventh day that God created for us to rest, this is a very restful moment in our Shabbat evening liturgy. On 160, it speaks of a time when our ancestors put these prayers together, where they realized how very fortunate they were just to be able to wake up in the morning. When we say in English at the bottom, grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. This is a very serious moment where people didn't know if they were going to raise up to any kind of a life at all. They often worried for their very safety. But today, we pray that each day we take the day that we wake up as a very special blessing. It's something that we all take for granted. We go to sleep at night. We don't think about the importance of being sheltered by God's presence every moment of our lives. And so we thank God for this shelter. We want God to grant us this Sukkot Shalom, this shelter of peace on Shabbat and every day. Let's read the traditional translation on 160, please, together. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and our coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. So often you'll hear this very famous melody at the end of each section of our evening service. But this little section that I'm about to sing, I want to give special homage to one of my very first cantorial teachers, whose anniversary of his passing, which we say in Yiddish is Yartzeit, is this week. He came from a really big Jewish musical family, 7 Jewish musical siblings. Can you imagine? And so this is his original Chatima, his original closer to page 160 that tells about that shelter of peace. Baruch atah Adonai haporetz sukat shalom aleinu haporetz sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. I love HaShalom. I love you and I miss you always. Chazan Gewurz. Page 162. This is a really joyful way of celebrating another section of our Torah. It is truly remarkable how brilliant our great sages were, that they took numerous excerpts from our Torah scrolls and put them right into our liturgy. And Bishamru is no exception. And so this is where we talk about the relationship between the people of Israel and God once again. And this is God speaking to us directly, saying, we shall observe Shabbat throughout all ages as a special agreement, a sacred covenant for all time. And then speaking in God's first-person tone, it is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel, always reflecting, as you'll see, the joy of creation. For in 6 days the heaven and earth were created, but it says, Uvayom hashvi'i, on the 7th day, Shabbat vayinafash. Instead of saying the word Shabbat as the time, we use the verb Shabbat, which means God rested. It's actually a verb meaning rested, and my favorite word in the entire prayer, vayinafash, and got a new soul. It comes from the root word in Hebrew, nefesh. We get a new soul every Shabbat. Let's celebrate that new soul. Page 162, shake a shaker. As you get to know the tune, join in. Vishameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם בית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם sing with me ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי וביום השביעי שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם. A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and a joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. I invite you please to rise, page 164, as we approach the next segment of our service, our standing section, Amidah or Tefillah. On that page, join in the words, if you're comfortable. Adonai Sfatai. Adonai Sfatai Tivtach Ufi Yagid Tihilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ya-la-la-la-la, 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 ya-la-la-la. We turn the page to 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'il ha'gadol ha'gibor ve'hanora El Elyon גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Page 168. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה לחיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך מימי ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. Page 170. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please read with me below in English. You are holy. Your name is holy. And those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. We remain standing for this Tefillah Amidah, which begins on 171 and concludes with the prayer for peace on 180. I invite you to pray silently, either the words of the pages that you see till 180, or if you wish, you may close the book and close your eyes and pray what's called Tefillah Shebalev, the prayer of your own heart. When you're finished, you may be seated. Page 180, our eternal prayer for peace. Please join me. Oseh shalom bimroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו ואמרו אמן ועשה שלום במרומה ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו ואמרו אמן יעשה שלום יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, all Israel, and all humanity, and let us say, Amen. This is now the time in our service when we are completing the mitzvah of remembering those in our hearts who are in need of some kind of healing. In Hebrew, we have two famous expressions. The word for healing is refuah. Refuah. If you know the name Raphael or Raphaela, comes right from that root, the healer of God. Isn't that beautiful, right? So refuah, healing, shlema, from the word shalom, complete, whole, or peaceful. Isn't that beautiful, right? Hebrew is a really economic language. You have one word, it can mean many related things. It's beautiful. And so I'm going to, as custom here at our congregation, list the names who people are thinking of in our Kol Ami community. And then when I've read the list, I'm going to bring my hand in your direction and ask you to call out comfortably, if you like, the name of someone who may not be listed here. And if you're listening at home, you may do so at home as well after I finish reading the weekly list. Thinking of you now this week for Refuah Shlema, complete healing. Gittel Leah bat Masha Chana, David ben Sarah Leah, Harav Yehuda Leb ben Dina, Miriam bat Chesed, Miron Yisrael ben Rachel, Daniel Meir ben Chaya Etya, Basha bat Shirley, Baruch ben Sarah, Michael Cohen, Jenny Cohen, Kathy Collins, David Dowsett, Yitzchak Figilski, Tanner Light, Megan Megalby, Rachel Mitchell, Shari Pedersen, Pete Schwager, Josh Shapiro, Penny Spector, Adina Stern, and Judy Wolf. As I bring my hand to you, please say someone you might be thinking of. Toda. You can say it out loud, even if you're not a regular person here. It's totally fine. If you think of someone, feel free to mention. On my end. And so there are many ways to sing our hearts to healing. And Debbie Friedman had become and has become one of the dominant voices in music for healing. But there are other beautiful voices of healing music as well. And I'd love for you to take a look in your white Shabbat booklet, if you've got it, with you towards the last 2 pages. I'm going to reintroduce my good colleague, my good friend, Cantor Lisa Levine's healing song. If I could just get the book to stay open here. So we get that. And on this end, page 14. Words are in Hebrew and in transliteration, so you can join in. And there's English too, you'll be happy to see. So Misha Berach is often called the healing prayer, but it actually means, may the one who blessed. That's actually what it means. And so there are many Misha Berach prayers. Healing is only one of many that starts with these two words, in case you didn't know that. Misha Berach Avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Misha Berach Imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our fathers, may the one who blessed our mothers, hear our prayer, sing, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your home. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Misha Berach Avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Misha Berach Imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Amen. It is now time for more words of Torah, and who better to share them with us than our wonderful board member, our committee chair of adult education, and generally amazing human. Welcome, Faye Lincoln. And my good friend, too.
I got a little cold.
It's all right, it's all right. Come on up, come on up.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Can you hear her okay, or
Can
does
you
she
hear
need
me okay?
does she need my mic? You can share mine if you like.
I'm going to wear a mask today because I just have a little head cold. So
Let me bring this a little
Yeah,
closer.
let
This
me
is
know.
movable.
I can make sure you can
Is
hear
that
me.
okay?
Uh-huh.
Guys
and
got that?
everybody on
Okay, good.
live stream. So, thank you. Thank you, Cantor. Today's Devar covers Parshat Vayikra, the beginning of the book of Leviticus. Moses, Aaron representing the priestly line, and the people are provided with the necessary means for carrying out burnt and meal offerings, as well as sacrifices of well-being. These ritual practices serve to honor Adonai, along with plentiful harvests and good fortune. There are also guilt offerings when one unwittingly fails to meet Adonai's commandments, such as when an individual or community has acted wrongfully. I'm going to speak a little louder. All right, I would take it off. Okay. Why should we continue to remind ourselves of our past traditions of the priesthood and its sacrifices? First, remembering our traditions is important for sustaining ourselves as a people through shared history and values that build unity. Whether we follow conservative or Reform Judaism, our traditions make us one people. Over the course of history, Jewish values provided resilience for our ancestors to adapt and survive in changing times. But our traditions kept us centered when times were difficult and encouraged us to celebrate when times were good. Second, these early traditions of ritual offerings given by Adonai to the priests, the sons of Aaron, for the people to follow, signified a shift in worldview for the Israelites and how they could live together in freedom after having been enslaved by Pharaoh for generations. Rather than worshiping idols or many gods like the Egyptians did, these offerings would remind them to honor the one Adonai. They would also remind the people of their responsibility to one another, how to live and act with goodness. Aaron and his descendant priests, in carrying out these rituals, made visible Adonai's laws and commandments. Now, clearly in ancient times, this worldview of Adonai is one perceived as an external, patriarchal force and power, meting out goodness and justice based on the Israelites' actions. When they acted in defiance of Adonai by falling back to idol worship of the golden calf at Mount Sinai, Adonai punished the people. The Torah states that Adonai is enraged and acts accordingly, befalling a plague on the Israelites to wipe out most of the wrongdoers. Of course, today we know that plague was probably the COVID pandemic, at a time when no one understood the nature of bacterial or viral transmission. When our ancestors did not understand the different physical forces operating in our world, these forces became a divine mystery, with the Israelites putting their faith in Adonai as a force for good, honored through ritual offerings. Now, at some point, this external worldview of Adonai began to change. After the northern and the southern kingdoms split, kings became corrupt and decline set in. The prophet Jeremiah tried to tell the leaders and the people that a paradigm shift was needed. His message highlighted that there was no place for ritual offerings to Adonai without sincerity for true change. If they were only going through the motions, then ritual offerings meant nothing. Jeremiah foretells how the Israelites have failed to change, would be conquered by other peoples, and there would no longer be a house of God to support priestly worship. He provides the people with a new worldview of Adonai by encouraging them when they are exiled to Babylon to internalize Adonai in their hearts. Quote, "See, a time is coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. It will not be like the covenant I made with their fathers when I took them by hand and led them out of the land of Egypt, a covenant which they broke, though I espoused them, declares the Lord. But such is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after these days. I will put my teaching into their innermost being and inscribe it upon their hearts. Then I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No longer will they need to teach one another and say to one another, 'Heed the Lord,' for all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall heed me, declares the Lord." Jeremiah 31. Now, once the exiles returned to Jerusalem to build the second temple under the Persian Empire, Ezra and the priests will transition their roles to become both teachers and priests, reading Torah law to the people alongside carrying out the more traditional ritual offerings. The people become disciplined in learning the law, taking it into their hearts and living it in their daily lives. As Jeremiah stated, the Jewish people are internalizing the words of Adonai rather than externalizing the law through ritual offerings only. Which brings us to today. I believe we're at a fork in the road. We need a worldview once again, a paradigm shift. Our world is in decline. The old ways are no longer working. We have not yet found the new path. There is a void, and that void is bringing out the worst in us. Judaism can help us face today's challenges. And so, as in Jeremiah's message, let us rethink our worldview of Adonai. I cannot profess what representation of Adonai you might have, but for many, Adonai might be a higher power, a living energy, or a higher source of purpose that allows us to focus on something greater than ourselves, that generates an upward evolutionary value direction in values for our world. transcending the old ways, transforming us anew, but maintaining our traditions and rituals to keep us centered. And if Adonai is omniscient and omnipresent, then Adonai is all around us, everywhere, out there, within us, and beyond us, taking in our knowledge, love, and energy, then reflecting it back to us on our world. If I could go so far as to integrate science and faith, I might even say that Adonai exists in the quantum world all around us, and as a result, permeates our very being. This means that Adonai is the ultimate force that brings humanity together, creating a new worldview that reflects a path of human connectedness. If we believe this, then we must design solutions to our challenges that are focused on compassion and human-centeredness to achieve our future. If we create new solutions that are accountable to the entire human family, collaboratively balancing long-term goals with short-term needs, we may reduce divisiveness and bring together prosperity to larger numbers of people. We must find leaders who can transcend our old ways and change society, rather than fight for individual causes that are essentially self-serving. We must balance the paradox between the needs of the individual and the greater good. Our early sacrifices and offerings helped us transition to a divine form of ritual and tradition that assisted the Israelites in learning to live together while building a nation. We shifted from an external worldview of Adonai to an internalization of the law within our hearts of the people, allowing them to adapt to challenging times. Today, a different worldview of Adonai representing human connectedness, collaboration, and societal accountability is needed, allowing us to generate new types of transformative thinking and innovative solutions. For me, this is Tikkun Olam elevated to a higher level, not just driving an agenda of social justice, but also advancing a new societal consciousness driven by our shared history and traditions of Jewish values. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, יישר כוח. Toda rabah. Thank you so much. Inspiring words. Beginnings of our law, the statements of our law come from Leviticus. We're looking forward to chanting those statements tomorrow morning. So please come join us if you'd like to hear them chanted from the original text itself in our scroll. And so we have some announcements. It's always a little bit of fun hearing someone say thank you to Cantor Brown-Levy when it's Cantor Brown-Levy announcing. Would anybody else like to read these tonight besides me? Just, I'm on? Okay. And of course, Toda again to Faye for your beautiful Devar this evening. So, you can now RSVP online for our 50th anniversary gala, Sunday, May 7th. You can also add your greeting or advertisement to our tribute journal book to be distributed at the gala and in our communications. The deadline for this tribute journal is in just 1 week, March 31st. So send yours in after Shabbat. We'd also like to display pictures from your child's bar bat mitzvah or Purim costume or Hanukkah party or any other memorabilia you have from your experiences at Kol Ami. For more information about how to order your tickets, sponsor a table, add a greeting, or submit your memorabilia for our 50th anniversary tribute, check your announcements or website or contact Galit in the office. Please note next weekend, March 31st through April 3rd, this is a traffic note, I-80 will be closed between 7th East and Foothill Drive as UDOT replaces the 13th East Bridge. Wow, I've been hearing about that and I didn't realize it was official. That's very good to know. Pesach, or Passover, is less than 2 weeks away. Our Rafi Schwartz Religious School will be holding a Passover pop-up shop Sunday, April 2nd from 8:45 a.m. to 10 and 12 to 1. All proceeds benefit the religious school. In addition to services, you're invited to join us for a special second night community Seder, led by yours truly. So come on out if you've not experienced a Passover meal. You do not have to be Jewish. Come and join us. It's an experience. Seating is limited. Don't delay. If you need a place to go for the first night Seder or you have extra room at your table, contact Lisa to make arrangements in our main office. In preparation for Passover, we're offering easy ways to ritually sell and donate the leavened bread or the leavened products. It's called chametz. You can sell your chametz or donate it to Jewish Family Service Food Pantry. Donation bins are located in the lobbies of Kol Ami all the way through Tuesday, April 4th. Our Rafi Schwartz Religious School will be holding a school-wide mock Seder, and our youth group, KG, will be having a chocolate Seder. Ooh, that sounds like fun. On Sunday, April 2nd. And as a little addendum to that, if anybody would like to help me kosher or make purified our meat kitchen for Passover, I'm doing that on April 2nd at 1 p.m. So even if you've never done this before and you'd like to see what this is all about, I need help. It takes a lot to get a kitchen ready and ritually fit for use. So the word kosher or kosher is to make something fit for use, and there's a special level of kashrut or fitness for use at Passover that is different from the rest of the year. So we'd love to have you join us April 2nd, Sunday at 1 o'clock. That night, Kol Ami is partnering with a group called the Be Chais for Young Professionals Chametz Away potluck event. We will have a Passover-focused senior lunch and learn, on Tuesday, April 11th. Again, yours truly conducting that one. And the topic I now have is Passover food, music, and culture around the world. Different traditions of celebrating Passover, not just here in Salt Lake, but all around the world. For our April Schmooze event, we will be attending a special off-site event at the Pioneer Theater Company to see the 2019 Pulitzer Prize for Drama nominee for Best Play, What the Constitution Means to Me, directed by our very own Kol Ami member, Karen Ozenberg. Check your announcements for details. Thank you so much to our volunteers, donors, members, our board members here today. We see Dove and Faye. Am I missing any others? Okay. To everyone for your participation and support. And once again, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We're approaching the concluding section of our Tefillah today. We're going to, in just a moment, reach a prayer that is found on page 586 that talks about our uniqueness as a people and how grateful we are to have this unique quality. And I'm going to invite you to rise on page 586 as we sing Aleinu. Aleinu lishabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם פגינו כהן, ויגור עלינו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. may be seated. Let's read together on page 589 in English at the top, 589. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Join me on 591 in the middle. V'nema v'haya Adonai lemelech akol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shema echad. This next part of our service, as we approach the conclusion, is dedicated to the mitzvah, the commandment of memory. For those who have passed away in the last 30 days, it's called Shloshim, and those whose anniversaries, the season of their passing, or Yartzeit, has occurred at this time. Shloshim in our community are the following: Philip Rosenberg, father of Nancy Strahinik; Eric Lynette, son of Alan and Debbie Lynette; Joel Shilkrat, wife of former member Sherry Shilkrat; Richard Josiah Tillery, son of Rachel Benater and Randy Tillery. And those whose Yahrzeitin have occurred at this season: Zachary Bannon, Elaine Borman, Elmer Bushkoff, Leo Kohn, Paula Block Draper, Joseph Dupler, Louis L. Fessinger, Paul Greenholtz, Jaime Gus, Blessing Jenkins, Josephine Kogan, Max Lazarus, my uncle Stanley Levy, Howard Bearle Link, Dora K. Mendelson, Sarah Mirsky, Dean Pepper, Hyman Rosenthal, Ruth Robinson Saltzman, Abraham Scheinberg, Carolina Carla Schwager, Philip K. Schwartz, Mayor Siegel, Abraham Shore, Charles Glenn Silcox, Pearl Stephanie Epstein Shulamit, Bert Spiegel, Natalie Spitz, Stella Spitz, Poter Spivak, Joel Leb Saz, Gerald Tashnek, May Weinberg, Millie Wise. As I bring my hand in your direction, feel free to stand and mention someone who may not be mentioned here. Zichanam letzadikim livracha. May the memories of all the righteous be a blessing, even those not mentioned today. If it is your custom to rise at this time in observance of the loss of a loved one or in solidarity with those who have lost loved ones, page 598, we join in. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba be'alma divara chirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabba mivarach le'alam u'lalmei amaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudesha berichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, and let us say, amen. You may be seated. Once again, it has been such a pleasure to lead for you today and to have you join in this lovely service. We're going to close with a very old and ancient closing song for Friday nights. It's called Yigdal, and it's on page 628. Now, the text of this Yigdal was actually based upon a very famous Renaissance scholar and his 13 principles of faith, and his name was Moses Maimonides, right? Harav Moshe ben Maimon of Spain, who is quite the erudite and the jack of all trades, pretty amazing guy, and his 13 principles are found in Yigdal. We're going to do just the first, second, and final verse on page 628. יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, ימצא ויהנה אל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואין גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון בין ראשית לראשיתו, חיי עולם נטע בתוכנו, ברוך אדוני עד שם תהילתו, מתים יחיה ברוב חסדו, ברוך אדוני עד שם תהילתו. In just a moment, I'm going to have you rise for the ultimate conclusion. For on Shabbat, we like to make each moment a little sweeter. So we drink grape juice or wine to bring in the sweetness of the day. So I'm going to invite you to rise, and I'd like you to turn to page 123, 123, as we not only talk about the fruit of the vine, but we talk once again about the importance of being saved from slavery in Egypt each time we recite a Kiddush. 123, we join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho v'ahava uv'ratzon inkilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom hatechila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodecha be'ava u'v'ratzon Inachaletanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim, to life. And now, before you sit, don't sit yet, one more reason to bless God is through the ability to break bread together. So we invite you to schmooze after the breaking of the bread, get to know one another. Feel free to ask questions. Those of you who are out there, I hope you're breaking bread in the land of the live stream, because if you don't have a slice of this challah from our wonderful challah maker Moshe Onwukeme, you are truly missing out. It's the best. All right, if you know the motzi, join in, please. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avot. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam, chitty, bitty, bitty, bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat.